Hi everybody. So when we take the time to join, so that we have the L that we've created, we have the 21 and the 21, and then we connect these two. When we connect these two, I noticed it was kind of difficult to see based on the beads I was using. So what I did is, I'm still going to show you that, but first I'm going to show you how to join this very tip here, these two legs together and add our Delicas. And I'm going to do that using this instead because it'll be a little easier to see. So just imagine that this two legs is actually this little section here, okay? So what we're going to do, when you look at the bottom here, we got their two right angle weave units, and what we're going to do is we're going to connect these two legs based on the 9 o'clock on this side, and I'm sorry, the 3 o'clock on this side and the 9 o'clock here, okay? And then as we go up, we're going to make sure that we're using the mirror image, and we're just going to do the same thing all the way around on the two units going up. So this first unit here, we'll connect the 3 o'clock with the 9 o'clock. Then we'll move up and we'll connect the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock, okay? And we only go up to 2, okay? And then we'll turn around on the third, we're not connecting at the third, and do the back side just like we did the front side, okay? So, and as we're doing that, we're going to be adding our Delicas, okay? At least to one side, and then we'll come back and add on the other side. So, I got my two legs here. So first, I'm going to connect. And I think when I was connecting the heart in the video early, which you'll see later, I think I started at the top here. That doesn't matter as long as you are connecting the same beads at the same position each time. So we're just going to go ahead and reinforce that. Alright, now what I'm going to do in this particular case, and this is just dependent on where my thread is coming from, is I'm going to go ahead and add my first Delica. So that first Delica is going to be here and here to that very first unit on the top. Okay. There we go. So I got the Delica, whoops, there we go. I got the Delica connected. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and join these two together. Just like we did with the bottom. There we go. And again, I'll show you this as well, but it's a little harder to see, which is why I have these practice beads out. There we go. And that's why I'm kind of using the colors that I am. I'm using black thread with white beads, and then a bright color for the Delica so you can see the Delica. I think my color choices were just they just blended in too well, and it makes it a little hard to see. And I just want to make sure my thread doesn't get caught on any bead. There we go. I'm just going to go through again to reinforce. I have a little extra room because these are bigger beads as well. So I think in the video we only reinforced once after we did our initial. Now I'm coming out of here again, so I'm coming out of the 9 o'clock in this particular case. So I'm going to go ahead, go to the picking up a Delica and going in through the next 9 o'clock. Alright, so I'm at the second unit at the 9 o'clock. I'm going to connect that to the 3 o'clock of the next unit. So we're only connecting the very bottom and the two top and the two back to create that heart shape. There it goes. That's once. Let's go ahead, reinforce that. And we'll put the Delicas on the other side later. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Delica. Okay. And I am going to go through the next 9 o'clock here. Okay, but we're not connecting that. Okay, it does. The reason why we don't connect it is that it ends up creating this to be too tight and it doesn't look like a proper heart. So you only want to go up to 2 to connect, but you want 3 Delicas. What we'll do is we'll go in through that side, you know, so we have this right angle weave. We'll go through there to the back. Alright, so we put on our 3 Delicas, and then I went from here, the 9 o'clock, to the 12 o'clock on the inside right angle weave, and I'm coming out of there. And I flip over my piece, okay, and because I want to get down so that I'm starting from the 3rd unit. Now I'm at the 3 o'clock on the 3rd unit on this side. I'm not going to connect these two, but I am going to put on a Delica between the 3rd unit and the 2nd unit. Then I go down to the 3 o'clock on the 2nd unit, and here I do want to connect this. So I'm going to go ahead, go through here, and reinforce that. After I've got it all through. Now I can go ahead and put on my next Delica, go down to the 3 o'clock of the 1st unit, connect the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock. Alright, now to put on my final Delica on this side, is I come from the 1st unit to the very bottom. I go through here, straighten this out, make sure it's laying right. Then I just come up through here to the opposite side, and since everything's connected, all we have to do is put on our Delica. So from the bottom to the 1st unit, make sure things lay right. From the 1st unit to the 2nd unit, and the 3rd unit, 2nd unit to the 3rd unit. And we're not connecting the 3rd unit, but we are going to go through the inner unit side at the 12 o'clock. So we can do the opposite side. My thread's getting caught. There we go. Alright, I'm going to move down to the 3rd unit. It's 3 o'clock. There we go. Now I just have to put on my Delicas on here from 3 o'clock to from the 3rd unit to the 2nd unit, and the 2nd unit to the 1st unit, and then from the 1st unit to the bottom. Alright, so go ahead and do that, and you're just going to need your 11-0 Delicas for your project. And once you're done with that, meet me back here, and then we'll connect our pearl and our Rivoli, okay? So this is real simple. Once you are able to do that, it seems more complicated than it is, but really all you're doing is you're just adding some embellishment to your right angle weave, and it's pretty darn cute. Alright, I hope that was a lot easier to see, and if you have questions, feel free to send me a message. But once you have that part done, meet me back here and we'll go ahead and start attaching our pearl and our embezzlement, our bezeled Rivoli. Sorry, it's been a long day, so if I can't talk, I do apologize for that. So meet me back here and we'll get this project finished, okay? Alright, take care. Hi everyone. So what we're going to do to make it a little easier, I'm using the bigger beads here, and as a result I'm even using a different Rivoli and pearl. So it may look a little different than what we're actually doing, but it just makes my life a little easier in trying to demonstrate here what we're doing, because the colors tend to blend so easily. Alright, so what we're going to do is imagine this as this part of your heart, okay? The connected part of your heart, okay? So what we're going to do when we attach our Rivoli is we want to pay attention between, there we go. We want to pay attention to these two beads here, because we are going to be weaving in and out. So every time we come out, when we weave back in, we're going to come in at the opposite side. So right now, I'm coming out of here. When I come back through, I want to be conscientious and weave back this way, okay? And so when I come out this way, and I go back in through my beads to attach the Rivoli, when I come back from that weave, since I'm coming out of here, I want to make sure I'm coming in through here. So you just want to be conscientious of where you last came out of and where you're going, okay? Because the reason why is we want our pearl to sit in the center with our Rivoli. And as we weave through the pearl, we're just going to be weaving through the single hole. And then for your Delica, and this is a slightly different Delica, but it doesn't matter. You are going to be taking one of the 11/0 Delicas in the spine. It actually doesn't matter which one, but pick one that you want to come in and out of where you have plenty of room, okay? And what this will do is this will allow you, we're going to weave in and out of that same Delica over and over again. Okay, so you want one where there's plenty of room. Alright, so I'm going to get a little closer in hopes that we can see here. There we go. So I am coming out of here. Alright, I just weaved through my 4mm pearl. I'm now going to go through one of the 11/0 Delicas. Just going to pick one where there's plenty of room. I weave out of that 11/0 Delica on the opposite side. I go through my 4mm pearl again. Okay, and I just slide this up. Oops. There we go. Just tug it up. And I want to pay attention to where I came out of. So I came out of here. So I'm going to go through here on the opposite side. And this just creates that balance in the center. Just like that. And then I'm coming out through here. I'm going to go back in through the 4mm pearl. And then I'm going to go back in through that 11-0 Delica that we came out of earlier. Give a little tug. Go back through the 4mm pearl. And I want to pay attention, and it's actually quite easy because it should be the only side that I haven't come in and out of, and that is right over here. So I'm going to do that now, and voila. And just make sure your thread doesn't catch on any beads. So that's actually 2 times that we went in and out of. You want to do it at least one more time. If not, if you want, go ahead and, if you have room, go ahead and do 4 times. And then meet me back here. You just want to make sure you're balanced between the 2 beads here on opposite sides so it lays correctly, okay? Meet me back here, and what we'll do next is we'll get started on creating our little loop that connects to the slider. Alright, thank you guys. See you in a bit. Alright, once you've gotten your pearl and bezel, a bezel Rivoli attached, we are now going to do our little loop that will eventually connect to the slider. And so what you're going to want to do is just when you're done, go ahead and go through that first Delica, the 11-0 C bead, the Delica 11-0 C bead, okay? You're not going to go through the next Delica. Instead, just go through those 4 beads. Alright? Follow the thread path of the second unit's right angle weave unit. And now we're going to go up to this third right angle weave unit, and what we're going to want to do is we need to come out of this third unit up, okay? So we're just going to make our way there by following the natural thread path, so we're not creating any new thread paths. And so now we're right over here. So use a total of, grab a total of 6 of the Delicas that you use to color in your heart. And then grab one of the Delicas you're going to use on the slider. Now if they're the same colors, then that's not a problem, you just need 7. If they're different colors, that the color that you're using for your slider will be in the center. Now don't pick it up. So what you're going to do is pick up the 6 Delicas that are the same color. There we go. Let me see if I can. Whoops. Alright, pick up the 6 Delicas of the same color that you used in the heart. cross over to the mirror spot on the opposite side. So it's going to be the third unit again. And it will be the 12 o'clock on the opposite side. There we go. Alright. Go through those beads again. Just only 3 of them this time. There we go. Pick up the Delica that's going to be in the color of your slider. Again, if it's the same color, great. If it's a different color, it will just highlight that for you. Then go through the other 3 Delicas and go into the opposite side of the bead that you initially came out of. So it balances right on the center of that bead. Alright. And then go ahead and let's go ahead and reinforce this. This will be a stress point, so we want to make sure we have it properly and reinforced. So we're just going to go through all of our beads again. We do want to make sure we leave some room because we'll have some reinforcement done on our slider. So we're just doing this one last time. Alright. Now we need to make our slider. So get your materials for the slider. You are going to need your 3mm fire polish. You can use bicones and pearls. And you are going to need your 11-0 Delicas, okay? So meet me back here with your supplies and we'll get started on that. Oh, and at this point, we're switching back to the 6-pound fire line. So that's another thing to note as well. Alright, now we are going to create the slider for our pendant, and you will need your 6-pound fire line, number 12 needle, 3mm fire polish, and 11-0 Delicas. And thread your needle, I would say a wingspan from arm to arm with your thread, and then leave about 1/3 of that for your tail. And then go ahead and put on your stop bead. And let's go ahead and get started on our slider. So we're just going to do right angle weave. We've done cubic right angle weave for this project already. Now we're just doing regular right angle weave. So this is going to be fairly simple. So our first unit. Now before we get started, let's talk about the slider. So how many units you're going to do will depend on what you want and what you're going to be using it for. So I have it going 6 units lengthwise, and then widthwise I have 6 units as well. That is to fit my purpose. Lengthwise, it just depends on how long you want it. And widthwise, you want to consider on what you're putting it on. So, and whether or not you want it to come off that chain or rope that you're making. So there's a couple of things to keep in note. The smallest you could really do is 3, but that would be fairly tight. But it's all going to be the same regardless on how long you make it and and what width you're going to make it. So I'm just going to talk about it, doing it to the length of 6 units and the width of 6 units. If you're going to make it any other size, you'll have to do the adjustment for that. It's pretty simple. So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 6 units, lengthwise and widthwise. So the first unit, I need 4 of my fire polish. Oh, just to go back, so what we're going to do is we're going to do our units, and then we'll go back and put on our embellishments. Okay? So I'm just going to slide that down. And then we are going to go ahead and reinforce all 4 of those beads to start off with. And then go through that first bead one last time. Alright, to create our first unit. There we go. So here's our first unit. And just like before, we have our 12 o'clock, our 6 o'clock, our 3 o'clock, and our 9 o'clock. I'm going to maneuver down to the 3 o'clock to put on the second unit. Since my 3 o'clock, we know this from before, so I'm just going to go real quick. And let me get a little closer. There we go. Alright, so this becomes my 9 o'clock, so I just have to add my 3 beads. There we go. Done that. Reinforce everything. And then I'll make my way back to 3 o'clock and keep repeating that until I have a total of 6 units on. So let's go ahead and do one more unit together. So I made myself back to 3 o'clock. I need to add my 3 beads, because that 3 o'clock is now my 9 o'clock. And put those on, and then reinforce. Alright, so go ahead and do that until you have a total of 6 units on, and then meet me back here and I'll show you how to put on the next row. Alright, so I've got my 6 units on. You want to make your way, after you reinforce, to 12 o'clock. And what you are going to do is you're going to put on your next unit going in this direction here. Okay, so we're just going to move over 1 unit, and then we're going to make our way going up. Okay, so here I have, and I'm just going to change the direction on here because it's a little easier for me to think. So my 12 o'clock is now going to be my 3 o'clock. So this 3 o'clock will now become my 9 o'clock of the next unit. And I just need 3. Alright, so I pick on the 3. Go through that 9 o'clock. Reinforce my stitches. And as a general rule, I just like to reinforce one at a time. It does help with everything laying correctly. And then what you're going to want to do is move to that 12 o'clock. Alright, so we got our first unit of the next row. Now, there's a couple things to keep in mind while you're doing this. You want to make sure you are staying in the proper pathway of a right angle weave. So like from here, I never want to go straight up to the next tier, because what that will do is we have these little gaps. We are going to need those gaps for our embellishment. So you don't want to use a thread path that would break that space up, okay? So make sure you're staying in the proper right angle weave, which is just a circular formation, okay? So the proper rotation for that, for the next unit, as you can tell, is we got this will become our 6 o'clock and this will become our 9 o'clock. And since our thread is coming out this way, it's natural to go this way. So you'll never want to have it so that the previous 9 o'clock is going up to the next 9 o'clock, or the 3 o'clock is going up to the 3 o'clock. They should never go straight up, okay? Always wind your way to a 12 o'clock or a 6 o'clock for going up, okay? Now going sideways, you're going to maneuver to a 9 o'clock or a 3 o'clock, okay? So just think of it the natural thread path. How would your thread go for a right angle weave? So for the next unit, you just need 2. So we're going to go ahead and pick that up. Then go through our 6 o'clock again. Oops. And our 9 o'clock. Okay, and then I'm just going to reinforce that. I've reinforced it. I'm not going to go to this next 9 o'clock. Instead, I'm going to move to here, which will become my 6 o'clock. And then I just go ahead and do my full 6 units all the way up to here. And then you move over 1 unit just like you did here down below until you have the width that you want. I'm going to go up -1 because the final unit will be folding this half and connecting. So if you're going to do a total of 6 units, only do 5 for now and then meet me back here. If you're going to do 4, do 3. If you're going to do more, let's say you do 7, meet me back here after you've done 6. And then I'll show you how to connect it, okay? Alright, I thought I'd take the time to show you how to turn one more time. So I just finished up this row here. I'm not going to add another row, so I'm coming out of my 3 o'clock, which now become my 9 o'clock. I need 3 beads, so I picked up 3. I'm going to go through my 9 o'clock. There we go. Reinforce that. Okay, I want to make sure, I want to make sure that I don't go straight down. Instead, I follow the natural path of the right angle weave unit. So by going down, I would be blocking my embellishment, my space for my embellishment. So I'm just going to come over here to my 6 o'clock, which will now become my 12 o'clock, and add 2 beads. And then go through my 9 o'clock and then 12 o'clock. Therefore, preserving that space for what it's intended for. Okay? So, go ahead. Like I said before, I'm doing 6 units, so I'll meet you back here after I have a total of 5 rows. And depending on how many rows you're going to do, meet me back here -1, okay? And then we'll connect it all together to create our little slider. Thought I'd show you how to do another turn here. There we go. Alright, so I'm coming out of this 3 o'clock, which will be my 9 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up 3 beads. Go through my 9 o'clock. Then I'm going to take the time to reinforce each stitch. And then I'm going to make my way to 12 o'clock in this particular case because I'm moving up, not down. I have my 12, it's now my 6 o'clock. I have my 9 o'clock, so I just need 2 beads. Go ahead and pick those up. Really, I mean, if you know how to do cubic right angle weave, you can easily do right angle weave. The only difference is this is flat. We're not making cubes, we're just making rows. So there we go. Reinforce. Then move up to 12 o'clock. And just depending on which way your thread's going through will determine things. My thread's going this direction. So I have 9 o'clock already, so I'm going to go ahead and go through that. I just need my 12 o'clock and my 3 o'clock. And then I go back through 6 o'clock again. Then I go around and reinforce the whole stitch. There we go. Don't want my thread to tangle later. Straighten it out. And since I'm coming out of here, I go through 9 o'clock. Just depends on the direction of your thread, which way you go, just like you cubic right angle weave. So I picked up 12 and 3 o'clock, went through 6 o'clock. Reinforce everything. There we go. Now I don't want to go to that 9 o'clock up here. I want to go to my 12 o'clock because we want to follow the natural thread path, not create a new one. Since I'm coming out this direction, I'm going to need to pick up 2, then go through my 9 o'clock. Alright, to reinforce that stitch. Hey Aspen, Mama's almost done. It's just one of my little babies. One of my little fur babies. She wants a little attention. Hold on. Alright. There we go. And then for the final one, Just following my thread path. Oh, she really wants attention. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up 2. And then I just move over and create the next row if I need to. So meet me back here. I'm going to do a total of 5 myself. And, oh, I'm going to do a total of 6. So meet me back here. Minus 1. So if I'm doing 6, I'll meet you back here after I finish all 5 rows. Okay? And then I'll show you how to connect it to become a slider. Okay? Alright, so what we're going to do is we're just going to fold this and then connect the first row and the last row together to create our final row. Okay, so I'm making sure I'm coming out of the 3 o'clock over here. I fold this, and as you can see, I got 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So I just need to add 6 o'clock. Coming out of 3 o'clock, I'm adding 6 o'clock, and I go through 9 o'clock. I'm missing 12 o'clock, so I'm going to add that and then go through 3 o'clock. And then I'm just going to go around and reinforce everything. There we go. So I'm just going to go around and reinforce everything. And now we just need to we're just going to be adding 1 bead for each unit. Because we have beads from the first row and the very last row that we put on. So I'm going to make my way to 6 o'clock to start the next unit. So the 6 o'clock becomes 12 o'clock. There we go. And I have my 9 o'clock, so I'm just going to go ahead because that's the direction my thread is going. I'm just going to go ahead and go through 9 o'clock. I'm going to pick up 6 o'clock, then go through 3 o'clock. Make sure my beads lay correctly. There we go. Go through 12 o'clock. And then I'm just going to go around and reinforce that stitch. And then once I've reinforced it, I'm just going to make sure I wind back up at 6 o'clock. And I'm just going to follow the natural thread path because we don't want to create any new thread paths of the right angle weave. And the right angle weave is that nice circular motion around the clock. So let's go ahead, go down to 6 o'clock now. And then you're just going to repeat that. So go ahead, finish it all the way down, and then meet me back here, and we'll start putting on our embellishment, okay? Alright, so if we take a look before we begin our embellishment, we notice that we will be using that 1 Delica in the very center here. For some of us, it'll be that one that's a different color. Some of you will have the same, so it's the 7th Delica going up. I mean, not the 7th, but the 4th going up in both directions. And what we'll do is we'll connect that to the pendant here. Also to note, we have on the ends, our Delicas are going in this direction, but in the center, they're going in this direction. And we have a total of 5 in the center. And then, of course, then the ends themselves, so a total of 7 going this way. So what we want to do is when we move to here and we get to the very center, let's go ahead and put on our heart, and then we'll what we'll first start off doing is we'll do our embellishments in the center, including adding our pendant, okay? So go ahead, grab your Delicas, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have maneuvered your thread and needle so you're coming out of the very end. Let me get a little closer here. There we go. So you want to be coming out of this bead here. So my thread is going in the same direction this way. Alright, so we're not going to worry about the ends right now. We're just going to worry about the 5 centers. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up a 11/0 Delica and just go through the next bead. Alright, now I'm just going to pick up. This is why it was so important not to create a new thread path, but just to follow our current thread path. Okay, so now I'm here in the center. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up my heart. Go through that very middle Delica right here. And then I'm going to go through that next fire polish. There we go. Pick up another Delica. Go through the next. Pick up a Delica. Go through the next. There we go. Then I'm just going to turn around to go down the next row. I don't have to worry about attaching anything because I got everything attached now. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up, whoops, I'm going to make sure I'm not on the ends, but I'm coming through that very first fire polish. Now I'm going to, for the inner side, now I'm going to pick up my 11/0s and just go down through each of the fire polish. And again, I'm just going to turn around. Now before I go up to the next row, I'm going to go back here and reinforce that. Make sure my thread doesn't catch on anything. And now I just have to go straight up, and I want to make sure I'm not skipping any beads. I'm just going to go through a couple at a time. Alright, now I'm going to turn around and reinforce that second row that I put on. Same manner. Alright, now I'm going to turn around. And just so you know, this very first row, we'll go back later on and reinforce that again, because we want to reinforce it at least a total of 3 or 4 times. Right now I'm just going to keep moving on. So I'm going through to bring myself to the inner part for the embellishment. Now I'm going to go ahead. So I'll do 2 rows and then reinforce. Alright, so I just put on my 3rd inner row. Now I'm going to turn around and do the 4th. And then, again, you want to make sure you're on the inner side. There we go. And follow the thread path. Make sure you're not creating new thread paths. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in my embellishment. And I'll do the 4th row. Once I'm done with the 4th row, I'm going to go ahead, reinforce the 3rd row and the 4th row, and then go ahead and get started on the 5th row. So go ahead, finish up the inner part of the embellishment, meet me back here, and then we'll get started on embellishing the ends, okay? Alright, now that I did all the inner embellishment, we just need to do the ends. And what I did is, if you have enough thread, go ahead and make your way to the opposite end than your tail, okay? That's if you have enough thread. And what you want to do is you want to be coming out of one of the end beads. So right now, you get a little closer. I am coming out of this bead here, okay, the very end. Alright, and I'm facing, so my thread is going in this direction here. Just like your inner embellishment, you're just going to pick up a 11-0 and then go through the very next fire polish. And you're just going to go all the way around, and then you're going to reinforce, and then you'll do the same thing on the opposite side, and once you're done with that, you are done with your pendant. So let's just go ahead and do that. Nice simple embellishment, but it does add a couple of things. It hides the thread, and it adds a little contrast to your piece. Alright, so I'm just going to go all the way around one more time, and then I'm just going to do the opposite side. Nice job, everybody. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. And you know, the more you explore with right angle weave, the different shapes you can make, a lot of fun it can be. There we go. Alright, so I just need to do the other end, and then I'm complete the same way. And then you have your heart. So here's my one heart with the matte fire polish, and I have a different color. I have purple, matte purple on the inner side with a light gold. And then I have my red, my Siam, that really jumps out. And here I have a bronze for the inner, and you know, so you can mix it up, have fun, play with the colors. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you